we can clearly see what's going on in society today when it comes to the moral decay and overall breakdown in society. We're seeing crime uh, at an unprecedented scale in this country. We're seeing old people getting beat up and robbed in broad daylight. We're seeing mobs of teenagers, uh, particularly black children, whether male or female, um, attacking trucks, dragging folk out, beating them. You're seeing all of these things take place in major cities. I'm watching more and more crime on an unprecedented scale happening in broad daylight and with everybody with a cell phone and a camera. It's just all out there. I recently saw a video of, and this is all happening in these major cities. Stuff like this does not happen in the country. But I saw a bunch of hoodlum poogies uh, breaking into a jewelry store. You know, one of them jewelry counters inside of the mall. Broad daylight, busting the glass wide open and stealing whatever they want. Raiding of stores downtown New York City. I mean, it's just the youth of today have no fear in them. They have no sense of direction. They have no sense of morals and values. And I ask myself over and over again, who in the hell raised these banshees and hyenas? Who raised them? And we see the results of single motherhood and fatherless homes. I say all this to say that we are lacking greatly, uh, amongst other things, discipline, but also how to de escalate a situation and conflict resolution. Amongst our women, we're seeing women, this recent incident in Chicago where a woman just didn't know how to shut her damn mouth. And this man hauled off and punched her in the face before he ended up getting shot by her son. We see in recent cases this woman go over to Dubai because, see, you can be ratchet and loud and boisterous here in America, but they don't allow that type of behavior in other countries. And this woman, which was a trucker, um, you can go out on the internet. Uh, she's facing 2 to 5 years because simply because she raised her voice. And people today don't know conflict resolution. People today don't know how to deal with situations. There's a time for violence and there's a time for negotiations. There's a time for working things out and talking through things through. Because, see, real men, and this is the kind of stuff that Andrew Tate is talking about. This is the kind of stuff that Christopher Peterson is talking about. This is the kind of things that men of that stature are talking about because we see the moral decline. I have a personal story to tell you. I have 5 children, 4 of which are with me, ranging from just about 2 to 7. And they've all been born and raised and being raised out in the country. And in particular, my youngest son, I'll tell you a story about his grandfather. A couple of years ago, I was able to fly out to Texas, I believe. We went out there for a day. And it's unfortunate that this man, tough guy, street guy, was for the streets. lived a very confrontational and dangerous life. And what happened to this man, like so many other people uh, that experienced this kind of stuff, is that he was associated with people that had beef with others. Could you imagine sitting on the front porch? And it happened kind of like this. He's sitting on the front porch with a group of other people, and the drive-by takes place. And he was not the target. As I understand it, he was not the target. He was associated and he was around people that were the target. And as a direct result of this drive-by, from what I understand, 6'2", big guy, big man, tough guy, ended up getting shot. And he didn't die, but he suffered severe severe injuries that caused him to be a paraplegic, paralyzed from the neck down. Could you imagine seeing something like that? Could you imagine your life ain't even 35 years old and you laid up in a nursing home? No one's coming to visit you. And you can't wipe your ass. All because you were a tough guy and you decided to fellowship and be around people that had beef with others. Isn't this the typical story? And it's one thing to see it in the movies. It's another thing or to watch it on TV. It's another thing to put a face to it. And I was there all day visiting this man with his mother. And drooling, just shriveled up like a bean. It's just a sad thing to see. And we must understand as a society that as crime goes up, as the moral decay continues to accelerate, you're going to see more of this. And this is why I say over and over and over again, you must understand two things: conflict resolution and being careful of the company that you keep. See, when vengeance is in the heart of a man, Eric B. and Rakim said it best. The streets is not a place for innocent bystanders to stand. Nothing's going to stop the plan. And so when you have a man that's filled with vengeance in his heart, because the two things that'll trigger a man is messing around with his family, his children, and messing around with his money. And it always has something to do with drives a man. Now, people today, they'll kill you for looking at them wrong. I'm telling you, man, it's sad. You got to be careful of who you're around. You got to be careful of how you look at people. You got to be careful of the environment that you're in, because, see, in this day and age, we got the modern day sword. And see, people won't hesitate to use this thing. And all this tough guy shit, see, that don't fly when the bullets start flying. Because, see, it doesn't matter how big and how tough you are and how big you can fight. We live in a world today where you can wreak havoc and kill somebody. The average person on the street. There's technology out there that anybody can purchase that you can kill somebody from a mile away with some fat shark goggles and a drone. You can kill somebody a mile away, 500 yards away. Let me show you something. See, you don't have to be close to your enemy in order to touch them. And see, you got to understand these things, because, see, people think in this day and age that just because you're tough, Because see, it's like the age old movie that you see today, where somebody punks somebody and then the other person says, you know what? All right, cool. You got this. You got this. You got this. And then you ever seen the movie Carlito's Way, where Carlito slapped up that guy? And what did he do? What did he do at the end of the movie? Through betrayal, and he walked up to him and popped him at the end. You see, you got to understand the world that we're living in now. And we're living in a world where anybody can be touched. Let me tell you, if the president can be touched, anybody can be touched. And you better make sure that you're living in a fashion where you're not involved or associated with people that are running foul and dirty. You better be careful that you know how to deal with situations. Because, see, when things get out of hand, things get out of hand. And when vengeance is in a man's heart, hey, man, that is a dangerous situation to be in. We must learn conflict resolution. We need to understand how to sit down. And see, Andrew Tate and Michael Peterson, Jordan Peterson is talking about stuff like this, where men have to sit down and understand how to communicate as men. Sure, there's a time for war. There's a time for peace. There's a time for all of these things. But we as men got to understand how to sit down and work things out as men. Because, see, that's what men do. That's what men that are stoic, that's what we do. We sit down and we think things through. Because, see, if you can't sit down and talk to a person and they got vengeance in their heart, you cannot dictate the time or the place where somebody may attempt to do harm to you. Because, see, all is fair in love and war. And this is why, personally, I decided to make sure that, hey, I avoid conflict at all possible ways. Because, see, people today, they're losing their damn mind out here. And this is why it's such a blessing to live out in the country and to live a peaceable and quiet life. Because, see, let me tell you, man, it's a sad deal, but you see what's going on today. And I say all to say that be careful of the company that you keep. Be careful that you're not around people that are running dirty and that are doing people dirty. Because, see, when this stuff come out, hey, they don't tell you. See, when your enemy comes at you, like at the end of Carlito, watch that movie at the end of Carlito's Way. They don't tell you when they coming at you. See, people just say, hey, they going about their way and they plot and they scheme. You cannot choose the day, the time, or the hour when evil may come your way. Anybody can be touched. Learn conflict resolution. Learn how to be stoic. Learn how to sit down and negotiate and work things out with people. Because if you don't, and if our children don't understand, and all they understand, look at the society today. Look at the children today. If we don't understand how to sit down and work things out, may Yah help us all. Because, see, everybody ain't wired a certain way. And the last thing I want to do is put myself and my family in harm's way because I dishonored or disrespected someone to the point where they wanted to come and take my life. Especially you family men out there. Be wise. This tough guy shit in this day and age, hey, tough guys can be dealt with from 500, 1,000 yards away, a mile away in this day and age. Be careful of the company you keep. Be careful of how you deal with people and engage with people. Because hey, again, I say it again. All is fair in love and war. Y'all stay blessed and be at peace.